All right, a very good afternoon to you and you're welcome to the program. It's Good Afternoon Ghana, and we're coming to you live from the Ikea Bohema studio at North Ridge. Today is the 23rd of April 2025, and we have quite a number of matters to discuss. You know that we've had issues of health when it comes to going into the hospitals and seeking health care. A lot of you have come up with complaints about the delivery of health care in the country. We've had the health minister have quite an encounter with the workers of Tamale Teaching Hospital just yesterday. We'll bring you some more updates of what has happened there. Are the solutions or whatever he's doing going to apply to all hospitals across the country? We hear the CEO of the hospital has also been dismissed following what is termed medical negligence that led to the death of a victim. We'll get into all those issues and give you some more. Also later, we'll bring you issues of sanitation and then updates of what's happening within the judiciary. Just yesterday, His Excellency issued the statement on the suspension of the Chief Justice. These and more coming up here on the platform. But in the meantime, let's give you the news updates by Ikea Bibio, who's standing by. Ikea, you're welcome. Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon, Annie.
Ikea, so take us away. What exactly is happening?
All right, good afternoon and welcome to Newsbeat here on Good Afternoon Ghana. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Minority Health Caucus in Parliament has strongly condemned the dismissal of Dr. Adam Atiku, Chief Executive Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, labeling the Health Minister's action as illegal, emotionally driven, and a blatant breach of administrative and constitutional protocols. Also, religious leaders joined the call for a cleaner Ghana, discussing ways by which the country can achieve this goal. And people wait in St. Peter's Square to pay their respects to the late Pope Francis, who will lie in state at St. Peter's Basilica for 3 days at the Vatican. We're bringing you details of these stories and many more. Please do stay with us. Hello again, my name is Ikea Babio. We're streaming live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana. We're also live on DSTV channel 277. Now let's settle for the details. And Kwame Appiah Kubi, convener of the hashtag Galamsey Must Fall, has called on the president to declare a state of emergency on Galamsey. Speaking at a press conference, he announced a planned demonstration for April 28, 2025, citing no legal restrictions on their protest.
The morning and then you end in the afternoon. This time around, we are all converging at Obrasport at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. By 3 to 4 p.m., the procession and its will start. And so it's not the usual, demonstrations we've seen over time. So it's on the 28th, which is Monday coming, and then we all converge, we all gather at Obrasport, and then we begin to raise our voices against the fight. Then we see how best the government will put measures in place to curb this. The message is very simple. All that we are saying is that in time past, everything that is being done today has been done before in the past, okay? So let's go into the forest reserves, let's go into the site, let's do a swoop, let's seize excavators, let's arrest people. The question is that even upon all the arrests that we've done, how far have we come with prosecution? So it's no longer about going to do a swoop. It has everything to do with the fact that we must treat this thing as a whole emergency situation that is affecting us in every aspect, from security down to the destruction of our water bodies, to our farmlands, and then to all the things that you can actually think of. All that we say is that, one, the president must declare a state of emergency so that we can put in place a very good blueprint in terms of strategy and policy as to how we want to deal with this. Because all these activities and all this destruction we are seeing, we also know that there are people within the same system who have been given licenses to do the right things. Yet they go into the forest concessions and then they decide to go beyond their boundaries and then do the illegalities. And so we cannot trust the process. Today, if you ask government to differentiate between people who are doing the legal aspect of the mining and those who are causing the level of destruction we are seeing today, they will not be able to tell you. The more reason why we need a state of emergency declared, so that at the end of the day, we can all put together a comprehensive plan to fight this menace. We believe that he is the minister. I mean, he can cry because he is seeing the level of destruction. Now, some of the things he is seeing today, some of us have seen it in years past. We've traveled to the Galamsey side, Tano Numre Forest. I have been there personally. Tanoamia Forest, I have been there. Apraprama Forest, I have been there personally. So when we talk about the issues, we know, we see it, we felt it in the time past. Today, he happens to be in his office watching documentaries, and then he is broken into tears. It is fine, but we still want to remind him that he has the executive power as a minister to take precise decisions that will help curtail all these situations, so that tomorrow, if he is speaking to the press and the entire Ghanaian people, he wouldn't, go to the stand of crying, but rather he will be laughing, because by then the problems might have been solved.
Now, let's still stay on the subject of illegal mining, because mining consultant Seth Walashime says the decision to reshuffle police commanders in illegal mining areas is a good step because it helps break the strong links between some officers and Galamsey operators.
The Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Yohonu, in keeping with his promise to wage a relentless war on illegal mining activities, has reshuffled police commanders in Galamsey-prone areas. This is said to be the first phase of the reshuffle exercise, as many more are expected to follow to inject fresh energy in the fight against illegal mining activities in the country. Meanwhile, the mining consultant, Seth Walashime, stated that the steps taken by the minister responsible should be commended. He clarified that the lease in question was not initially granted within forest reserves, and any breach of that provision should rightfully result in revocation as prescribed by law.
I think that the steps that the minister has taken is to be commended because the lease that was granted to Akunta Mining was not granted in forest reserves. That should be well noted. And if they have breached that provision in granting them that lease, then the actions that will follow, according to the laws of Ghana, is the revocation. And I think that it's in the right direction.
He also emphasized, as part of the reshuffling of the police, that the government must support the Minerals Commission, which is the main agency in charge of mining.
So we should just, give them the benefit of the doubt. And once that reshuffle is done, at least with the new faces, it will take some time for these people to get themselves familiarized with them and to be able to even make an attempt to bribe them. So I believe that this move is also a positive one.
Seth Walashime believes that if the government takes these steps, Ghana will have a better chance of winning the fight against illegal mining.
And away from illegal mining, let's turn our attention to health. And the Ghana Health Service has directed all public health facilities to stop charging fees for the use of washrooms. The move, according to the GHS, is to uphold patient dignity and improve public health standards.
The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akoria, has ordered all regional health directors to ensure that no fees are charged for the use of toilets in health facilities, emphasizing that washrooms are a vital part of hospital infrastructure designed to provide comfort and reduce infection risks. Professor Akoria stated that such facilities should not be used as a means of exploitation. He stressed the importance of maintaining clean and comfortable washrooms to enhance patient care quality and satisfaction. The directive is to take immediate effect, and any facility heads who fail to comply will face sanctions.
Now, let's take you to the Ashanti region where lack of decent toilet facility in Asunomaso community in the Kwabri East municipality of the region has compelled male and female residents to compete for space in the nearby bushes and refuse dump sites. They are appealing with authorities to, as a matter of urgency, construct a decent public place of convenience for the community to allay their fears of a possible outbreak.
The residents of Asunomaso in the Kwabri East municipality of the Ashanti region, despite being a beneficiary municipality of GKMA toilet project, have expressed worry over the lack of toilet facility in the area. They are calling on authorities to come to their aid so as to alleviate the suffering of the people. Some of the residents who spoke with Metro News revealed that the lack of decent toilet facility in the area has compelled them to resort to defecating in the open.
Kwabere Asunomaso. Yeni ti efri so da. Da bia yeni wo bola so. Bola so no so ayene na. Yeni mema nyina enani so. Ebi wa wokoto toilet ni so a wo gya wona no abewu sa alomifo enso nam wakire. No mo se salomi.
Wo sori na ko toilet ya. Obi gina ha na ohwe o saa.
Toilet no ni nsuo no. Toilet no ba bia tuntie nsuo no to a ennamu saa ba fie ho tene. Kan.
Kolela de e bompa ye se mebi ntu ye kurom ha. Obi aja na owuram.
Wo kura be yi. Obede boja me na yo.
Right, so residents of Asunomaso in the Ashanti region calling on the government to intervene and address their concerns. Away from that, founder of C4C Liver Specialist Hospital, Dr. Michael Chemantin, has advised the general public against the purchase and consumption of medicines that have not been approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. According to him, such medicines pose severe health risks. He spoke during the introduction of the Liverton Liver Tonic by C4C Pharmaceuticals in Accra.
Liverton Liver Tonic by the C4C Pharmaceuticals is the first over-the-counter homeopathic medicine in Ghana's healthcare system that has been approved by the Food and Drugs Authority, an indication of integration of homeopathy treatment into mainstream healthcare. The medicine is intended to protect liver health. Recent studies indicate that approximately 8.8% of deaths in adults in Ghana are attributed to liver-related causes, with substantial portion of these deaths linked to liver cirrhosis. Speaking at the outdooring of the Liverton Liver Tonic, founder for the C4C Liver Specialist Hospital, Dr. Michael Chemantin, emphasized on the need for the regulation of sales of medicines in the country.
Once the regulator is there, the FDA is there to register any product as far as it's homeopathic medicine, as far as herbal medicine, as far as anything you term as a medicine or whatever, the FDA is there to register. When it comes to the practice, to the Traditional Medicine Practice Council is also there at the end of the day to ensure regulation of the practice. So for now, in Ghana, I would say that there is no major challenge in terms of integration.
He called for the production of homeopathic medicines locally.
There is no local factory or manufacturing company in Ghana that produces homeopathic medicine, or there's no hospital or clinic in Ghana that says that my homeopathic medicine, I produce them myself. No, it is produced in India or outside Ghana, let's say in India, Europe and all that, where we have such manufacturing companies. They produce it. But I think sooner than later, C4C will be taking the lead again to have a mini plant in Ghana, so that producing it locally in Ghana, when we're able to get a plant, will basically also bring the cost of even sales, production and all that on the lower side for us to be able to make more impact.
The integration of alternative and traditional medicines into mainstream healthcare delivery continues to remain a challenge despite efforts by stakeholders in the healthcare sector due to concerns of efficacy of such medicines.
In more news this afternoon, Kwesi Pra Jr., editor of the Insight newspaper, has defended the president's suspension of the Chief Justice on Good Morning Ghana, stating that due process was followed and there's no constitutional breach. In contrast, Eugene Boakye Entry, former MP for Subin, views the move as executive overreach and warns against politicizing the judiciary, emphasizing the need for separation of powers.
Right now, the process has gotten to the third stage. Okay. The president referred the matter to the Council of State. Indeed, the Chief Justice was given a 10-day opportunity to respond to the petition. I think it's also been forwarded to the Council of State. The Council of State has decided that there's a prima facie case. Following that, the president has set up the 5-member committee according to the provisions of the Constitution. 2 judges, one of whom must be chairperson, and 3 persons who should not be lawyers, who should not be members of parliament, and who should not be ordinary citizens, and so on. I think what the president has done is constitutional and needs to be respected. The president also has taken the provisions of the Constitution seriously, which allow him to suspend the Chief Justice whilst the investigations are going on. Okay? And it makes a lot of sense for the Chief Justice to be suspended. Because if the Chief Justice is not suspended, what if matters related to the case are filed at the Supreme Court? Is she the person going to empanel them? It raises all kinds of complications. So she herself must understand why she cannot continue to be Chief Justice while these matters are being heard.
When it comes to the administration of justice, we should let them be. Do you understand? We should let them be. Today is get to talk on them. We keep quiet. Tomorrow, it could be Tanko Amedu. It could be any of those judges. You understand? And then, when you find yourself in a position, then you come and make noise. How long are we going to play political football with our state institutions? Especially the arms of government. How long? And what is the end game in all this? Because if President Mahama succeeds in removing a leadership Justice Toponu, it won't end there. Any MPP administration, you mark on the wall, will remove the Chief Justice, when they come. They will find something. You can always find fault. You can always find fault. You don't need to sit down and take a pen and paper. You can always find fault. Today, you are using a traveling expense to get rid of a Chief Justice. Tomorrow, somebody will come and say, hey, this case, you should have impounded this, you don't impound it, so I'm also getting rid of you. And you get people flying in with these petitions. Okay. And where is that leaving Ghana as a country?
Now let's turn our attention to some other stories, and the International Monetary Fund has sharply downgraded its global growth forecast, projecting the world economy to expand by just 2.8% in 2025, indicating a significant drop from the 3.3% forecast made in January.
IMF, in its April 2025 World Economic Outlook, cites escalating trade tensions with the United States, announcing a wave of new tariffs with trading partners responding with their own countermeasures, creating ripple effects across global supply chains and investor sentiment. It also cites mounting policy uncertainty as the main culprits behind the slowdown. Since the release of January 2025 World Economic Outlook update, a series of new tariff measures by the United States and countermeasures by its trading partners have been announced and implemented, ending up in near universal U.S. tariffs on April 2 and bringing effective tariff rates to levels not seen in a century. The IMF flagged intensifying downside risks, warning that a deeper trade war, rising financial instability, and fragile policy buffers could worsen the economic landscape. Vulnerable emerging markets could face capital flight, currency pressures, and increasing debt burdens. The swift escalation of trade tensions and extremely high levels of policy uncertainty are expected to have a significant impact on global economic activity. Under the reference forecast that incorporates information as of April 4, global growth is projected to drop to 2.8% in 2025 and 3% in 2026, down from 3.3% for both years in the January 2025 World Economic Outlook update, corresponding to a cumulative downgrade of 0.8 percentage points.
Now let's take you back to the Ashanti region, where the MPP member of Parliament for Abetife in the Eastern region and a former Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian Champon, has pledged to rebuild the Adum market within 12 months when given the opportunity by Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II and the regional administration. He made the pledge when he visited the affected blue light markets on Tuesday, April 22, 2025, to present an amount of 300,000 Ghana cedis to the victims.
The Adum Blue Light Market fire, which broke out last month, engulfed dozens of shops in one of Kumasi's busiest commercial centers. The disaster reignited conversations about market safety and infrastructure development, with many calling for urgent reforms to prevent future occurrences. In a major show of support for victims of the Adum Blue Light Market fire, NPP MP for Abetife and a business mogul acknowledged the profound financial losses suffered by traders. He announced an ambitious plan to reconstruct the market within a year, provided he receives the necessary approvals from the key authorities in the region.
It should take about 12 months. We should be able to put this thing together, a very solid structure, and then clean the front, put up some stalls so that the traders here can have some normalcy to their lives. A lot of people are making donations. They should continue to make the donations because people have also lost capital. People have also lost substantial amount of money. So whatever is raised in the end should be distributed to the affected traders whilst I take up the infrastructural aspect of things.
Treasurer for the United Traders Association of Adum, Joseph Bobie Ansah, praised Brian Champon's intervention, calling it a timely and compassionate gesture that brings hope to hundreds of devastated families affected by the recent fire.
Now, a businessman. What business is what Santimamu? Now there are two blue lights, no. Ebi ebetimi atono. Enti oni mo amesu amomua na etrese entwa yie. Enti enne yewura Brian Champon. Ananse bi ose anwansna oni bi kura no opusa ni nsam. Enti enne obaya oni mi bosumbom odinani be share de asi.
The Adum Blue Light Market fire, which broke out last month, engulfed dozens of shops in one of Kumasi's busiest commercial centers. The disaster reignited conversations about market safety and infrastructure development, with many calling for urgent reforms to prevent future occurrences. In a major show of support for victims of the Adum Blue Light Market fire, NPP MP for Abetife and a business mogul acknowledged the profound financial losses suffered by traders. He announced an ambitious plan to reconstruct the market within a year, provided he receives the necessary approvals from key authorities in the region. Treasurer for the United Traders Association of Adum, Joseph Bobie Ansah, praised Brian Champon's intervention, calling it a timely and compassionate gesture that brings hope to hundreds of devastated families affected by the recent fire. The MP for the area, Kofi Obriyeboah, and some former MPs accompanied Brian Champon to commiserate with the traders. In a separate gesture of solidarity, he also pledged a support of 500,000 Ghana cedis to victims of the recent Kantamanto market fire in Accra, underlying his commitment to aiding affected trader communities across the country.
Now, on the international front, people wait in St. Peter's Square to pay their respects to the late Pope Francis, who will lie in state at St. Peter's Basilica for 3 days at the Vatican. The body of Pope Francis was moved on Wednesday morning to St. Peter's Basilica for 3 days of public mourning for an Argentine pontiff remembered for his humble style, concern for the poor, and insistent prayers for peace. And that's all for the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Sekia Babio. Stay with us as Annie continues with the rest of the program.
Ghana here on Metro TV. We'll take a breather now. When we come back, we'll delve deeper into the issues.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh bread.
I'm a fair missy way.
Prepare bantama.
Matias.
It's
her smile, the fresh breath.
Me Jidi say we use Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasa.
Ile hosing. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will so feeling kika when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRECOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa, and the IRECOP with cocoa blend, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRECOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
These holidays, you don't need to go far to find the best entertainment.
Exactly.
All you need to do is stay connected to DSTV.
Yes, please.
Whether you're at home or on the move, make it a holiday to remember.
Lewis Hamilton leads on Ferrari debut.
Because these holidays, it's your moment to enjoy the best entertainment.
Great.
Thank you guys for joining us. So get and stay connected to DSTV to enjoy every moment.
I decided to pay a surprise visit to Tamale Teaching Hospital to familiarize myself with the conditions under which my wonderful health professionals are working. Although very surprising, but I'm impressed about the reception so far. And let me take this opportunity to salute all health professionals in this country, especially where I am at the moment, Tamale Teaching Hospital, for the sacrifices they are making and they will continue to make for Mother Ghana. I'm the first person to admit that they are not working under the ideal situations, and we don't have the ideal situations yet. But what I must say is that irrespective of the conditions under which they are working, let us try as much as possible to give our best. I'm setting up a 3-member committee to look into the matter. Every life matters. Every life matters. So the committee will have 2 weeks to submit their report.
All right, you're welcome back to the program. It's Good Afternoon, Ghana. So except of what you were just watching, is the Minister of Health, Honorable Minta Kando. He's also a member of Parliament, but had been on the Health Committee as a chairman for the Parliament Committee, at least for the whole previous Parliament sitting that the House was in session. So I must say that he must have some first-hand information as far as the state of our hospitals and medical centers are concerned across the country. Yesterday, there was an incident where he paid a surprise visit to the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Remember that he had been going to various health facilities. I think the latest he visited was the Kolebu Teaching Hospital before he moved to Tamale. It actually initially started with the Agenda 111, paying visits to the sites of these projects, and then he ended up with hospitals that are already operational, just so he will have first-hand information on the state and conditions of these hospitals. Now, the latest after his encounter with the Tamale Teaching Hospital staff is that President John Dramani Mahama dismissed the Chief Executive Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, Dr. Adam Atiku, following reports of alleged negligence that led to the recent death of a patient and at the hospital's accident and emergency ward. Now, the decision also comes amid growing concerns about the deteriorating state of the healthcare delivery at the facility, where several essential medical equipment are reportedly non-functional. Remember that here on Metro TV, on Good Morning Ghana, several times we've run issues on kidney diseases and how most of the hospitals lack the facilities, some of which have facilities but are broken down. So you see, or you'll find that in one of the videos that the minister and some of his officials tried entering the washroom and could not stay there, so he was coming out. How the death incident and then everything. Let's just watch some of the excerpts of the videos, some of which Metro TV captured itself, some were also circulating on social media. So we have a fair idea of what exactly the situation was when Minta Kando visited the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
And that is what we have been briefing us. We know that the Tamale water challenge goes beyond the facility. It's well known in the country and all that. But you cannot tell me that, because if you are not very careful, people come here and pick the diseases from here and go home. That's what it is. And you know, you're a medical doctor. Yes, sir. So they will come here because there's no water. The person is sick. He comes here and picks the disease and he goes with the disease because there's no water.
So we have the 2 tankers.
Good.
I think the last week, they went the whole day, they were allowed to 4 trips. That 4 trips alone cannot dialyze them or take care of the dialysis unit for a day. Because when you open one dialysis machine, like you open a tap. So the 4 tankers a day is not enough. So when the water can open the price, we have the public toilet that we have for patients. So if this one is locked, then they will use the public one. It's outside, was built by GMPC. So maybe on the way we will pass there. Only it's a bit far from here.
No, but I've come because of you, don't worry. Let's proceed.
Call was made. The 4 vents were in use. So there was no extra vents anywhere to put the patient on. So that was the issue that kind of caused the delay. But all the resuscitation was done here. We called the ICU and they said they didn't have any vents available for the intubation. And at that point, there's really little that you'll be able to do without the intubation. So the patient was being bagged here until the patient could.
So when the patient go here, how many minutes did they get you to assess the patient?
Oh, within 10 minutes, because usually when you score red, you are immediately brought to the red zone. There's no situation where you have to delay. You are pushed straight to red. So as soon as you are tried red, you are brought in red.
And then, when did you communicate with the ICU when they told you they didn't have any vents available?
No, I think immediately we identified that the patient needed to have been intubated. The ICU call was made.
And they said they didn't have anything.
Yes, so there were no available vents.
So if somebody tells you that at the time they got to know that there was a patient like that, there was an available mobile vent, how will it be as a man in charge here?
I mean, if there was an available mobile vent anytime, we would have used it. We see patients here all the time.
There's a bit of conflict between what you are telling us now and what they are also saying. And so it is either an issue of lack of proper communication or there's a problem somewhere. Either it is an issue of proper communication or negligence or somebody's lying.
I mean, it's a straightforward case. Patient came, assessed, needed to be intubated. There's no vent at the emergency as we speak. There's no functional vent. So the next step is ICU. The call was made to the ICU.
And they said there was no...
They said there was no space.
Yes.
So that was the communication we got.
They heard what Dr. Yamato was saying. So we have a mobile vent there. And then they spoke to the ICU. The time that they came down to assess and then planned to bring the mobile vents down, that was the time that the patient arrested. So he probably had a stroke in addition.
So from his, I do not want to go to. No, go on.
I didn't get the impression that Prof is now created for this narration up there.
But that's fine. Let's leave it there.
I made the point that it may be negligence because clearly.
That's fine.
If there was a mobile vent there at the ICU.
If the communication was done at the right time and there was available mobile vent, let's leave it at that. So let's leave it at that.
Similar cases.
Occasionally that's happening.
That's what you should highlight.
Occasionally that's happening. I think the way forward is for us to have the vents available at the emergency. And then this wouldn't have even happened because we could have intubated the patient without needing
So I said what I'm going to say, I said it when I went up there at the ICU. You know, how you handle patients, even if they're unfortunate happens, it gives them some kind of comfort. Okay? If the patient is brought, and you are looking for a certain equipment, and it's not gotten.
Look at the way you are behaving. Even proud minister, can you imagine what you do in the common man?
I'm trying to explain.
You can imagine how you do in the common man. And that's why you feel the questions here. That's what will create the problem. I mean, even with your superiors, look at how you are arguing.
There's a problem. There's a problem here.
So if the commoner comes here, can you imagine what he will do?
How can somebody talk to someone here? How will he be able to communicate with people here?
Student comes here, how will he do it?
There's a problem. You have the patients, look at the manners, I have corrected all these things. I mean, you don't do this.
You don't want scandal for the minister. How long have you closed this? I mean, even the corridor doesn't have lights, right? The one you do, you know, that's a home.
Right, welcome back. My producers, thank you. But welcome back to the program. It's good morning, good afternoon, Ghana. I'm sorry, pardon me. I'm a morning person, so good afternoon. We're just giving you a view of exactly what happened with the minister when he paid a visit to the Tamale Teaching Hospital. We have videos of him at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We have videos of him at some hospitals in the Ashanti region, and that directly relates to the Agenda 111 projects that the government actually already started. Now, some key, let's say, top 3 key issues that the Tamale Teaching Hospital raises. One has to do with non-functional equipment. Critical machines like CT scans and MRI machines have been out of service for 6 good years. Poor sanitation, that's also one issue that was raised at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Unsatisfactory conditions in the washrooms and water crisis affecting hospital operations. And that was a video of which we played. You realize that he entered the room that supposedly patient's washroom. That was the inscription at the door. And from the pictures and the videos we took, you could tell that he couldn't stand probably the stench or maybe the look or the sight in the washroom. So he was rushing his team out of the place. Okay, so that's a video currently screening on your screen. And then there's also management issue that has to do with payments made to suppliers for equipment maintenance without results. And that's also another issue that came up, and obviously the ministry or the minister gathered that he was not happy with in terms of some of the issues that he gathered. These are the top 3 matters that followed the visit or the surprise visit that the minister took at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. You realize that in his company was Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways. And you wonder what the Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways will also be doing at a hospital in company with the Minister for Health. But that is Al-Hassan Suhini. Remember that Al-Hassan Suhini is Member of Parliament for Tamale North constituency. And so that hospital falls directly under his jurisdiction and must be concerned about whatever happens at the hospital as a Member of Parliament. I have had the opportunity to speak with the health minister, who has also given us, some heads up that he's going to give us an interview, maybe a one-on-one, so that we go through a whole overview of what he's been doing so far as the hospital matters are concerned, or his work that he has done so far when he took office, almost 4 months. Into this the assumption of this office, so that he will take us along with him and we will understand exactly what is happening with this ministry. Some of you will probably watch these updates and these outbursts, and you'll be wondering. Some will say, "Oh, but you people are doing too much. What is the problem? Start working and stop putting the cameras on you." But I will also say, as a media person, following through what the government has told us, is that they are going to be a transparent government and drag Ghanaians along with them. So I want to believe that apart from eating and maybe sleeping in their bedrooms, everything they do associated with its governance, we are expected to be updated every now and then. So if you monitor, you see that every ministry, MMDA, every agency is taking us along with them, all the updates, and I'm hoping it's not going to be a 9-day wonder. I really hope that it's not going to be a 9-day wonder. It will be something that they will take us along all through, so we are all informed on what we have to do as far as these happenings and updates of the ministries and agencies are concerned. There's also another issue that I raised, and I'm just doing a little editorial on this matter. That has to do with, remember the recent incident that happened with the Ghana National Fire Service and the Minister for Ashanti Region, which there was fire raging at the market, and obviously in the midst of the chaos, there was a fire tender sitting there, and there were properties burning. And what the minister did was to start screaming and asking what is going on. You could tell that from morning, the fire started in the morning, remember. So for morning, afternoon, evening, fire is still burning, water tender is sitting there, nothing is happening. And minister is asking, so why are you not quenching the fire if you have the fire tender here? And the fire officer or officers then at the time told us that, oh yes, the tender is there, but there's no water in it. So if there's no water, why is the tender sitting there? And minister started screaming. Now this minister started receiving attacks and insults and bashing simply because he was shouting in the midst of the chaos. The fire officer went on air, I don't know if it was by mistake or also by anger in a reprisal manner, indicated that shouting is not going to solve the problem. But you see, from my editorial perspective, it tells you how Ghanaians are used to chaos. We're used to chaos. We're used to disasters. We're just used to anything mess. Our standards have dropped. When it comes to public safety, we have no conscience, and we're not conscious about safety, first aid tips, and the things we have to do just to save our lives. It's like we cannot even save our own lives, much less save another person's lives. If you watch accident scenes, you see that we lack the knowledge of providing first aid to accident victims if you just happen to be there. So a lot is going wrong, and when ministers and leaders decide to take different twists, it looks very strange, and it looks as though it's for the cameras. But for the purposes of future sake, I hope that the current leadership would also not do a 9-day wonder and shout along as if they are doing anything, and in the end, they actually do nothing. Now, this one will take me into the issue of sanitation, as and when we also are able to pull the minister along with us in the studio. Definitely will have all the details of what's happening in the health ministry. So I've already told you that the three main issues that has to do with the Tamale Teaching Hospital. I've mentioned about management, I've mentioned the issue of sanitation, and I've also mentioned the issue of equipment in the hospital. Those were the three top issues that the minister raised when he paid a visit to the Tamale Teaching Hospital. All right, let's now come into the studio because I have some guests with me in the studio. We're turning our attention to issues of sanitation, poor sanitation. And this afternoon, let me just introduce Rashid Ni Ayite Odoi Achem. And Rashid is with me. He is Dade Kotopon Municipal Chief Imam. Rashid, you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you in the studio. People will be wondering why I have Rashid with me in the studio if I want to talk about sanitation. So you all get to know why I'm bringing. So it's about, leadership of the religions, right? So Rashid is Ladade Kotopon Municipal Chief Imam. He's also a member of the advisory board of the Office of the National Chief Imam, actually. I think that should be first on your CV. You don't think so?
That is, of course, the highest office, but someone appoints you to offer a piece of advice as and when your services are no longer needed, you be dispensed of. And of course, I first became the municipal chief imam, and it was on the basis of that and other qualities that he considered me worthy of being an advisor.
So I guess I'm right then. Okay, all right, okay. So which one is the Sheikh Al-Haji Abdul?
I'm Abdul Rashid Udi. That is
Abdul Rashid.
I'm the same person.
The same person.
Yes.
So if we have to, we're a news agency, so we just want to make sure we get it rightly. So if we have to use maybe an official name for you,
I don't mind even if you say Rashid Odui.
Hey, you are Sheikh, I beg. Let me just give you the respect. I beg you. So it's the same one and the same person, you know. But
okay, so
Sheikh
Imam Rashid
Imam,
Odui. Yes,
fine.
that should be sufficient.
So Sheikh Haji Abdul or Imam Rashid Ni Anyete Odui Achem. He's also a founder and executive director for Free World Foundation, Group CEO for Ranod Consult Operations of Ranod Radio and TV, and also founder and executive director of Center for Islamic Education, Reformation and Human Development, broadcast journalist as well. Sheikh, you're welcome once again.
Thank you.
Okay, let me also introduce the other guest to you. I just want to get the name rightly before I make a mistake. Okay, so I have Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu, also Risk Communications Officer, Veterinary Services. I don't have that guest with me yet. Okay, all right, then let me move here. Apostle Emmanuel, that's you, because I know the face. Yeah. Apostle Emmanuel Akule Tete. Akule. Okule. Yeah. Okule Tete. Okay.
Tete.
Okule Tete.
Yes.
So it's not Tete. No. Oh, this one there, my producer got it wrongly.
Why ending?
Please, it's Tete. He's a General Secretary, GPCC. Please, what is GPCC?
Thank you very much. GPCC is the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council.
Okay. I've never used their acronym.
Yeah.
I'm always Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay. It's clearer now because the face was very familiar. So, okay. So Apostle Emmanuel Okule Tete is also General Secretary for the Ghana Pentecostal Charismatic Council, and I also have Kweku Kwansa, Director of Sanitation. Director, is that you?
I'm the head of environmental health and management of the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs.
Okay, I think you have to say that again because what I have.
Yeah, I'm Kweku Kwansa.
Can you come closer to the mic?
Kweku Kwansa. I'm head of environmental health and management unit of the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs.
Okay, environmental health
and management
unit of the. Okay, so there is a unit of the ministry.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a environmental health and management unit of the Ministry
of Local Government
and Chieftaincy
and Religious
Affairs. Remember that ministry has been realigned. Yes, it has been realigned. So it's a long name. Whether you like it or not, you have to write it. So that's the name of the ministry. Boss, you're welcome. Thank you for your time. All right.
Happy to be here.
So maybe you are not directly leading religion, but by the ministry.
Yes.
You are still within the religious circle.
Yes.
Okay, let me start from your unit first so that the rest of our religious leaders will get a picture. Sanitation. Where are we today? Let us know exactly where we are.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, can you come closer to the mic? Yes.
Thank you very much. And I'm happy to be here. And I'm happy to be in the midst of a Sheikh and Apostle. That is a spirit. Sanitation is everybody's responsibility. And especially when you get people who have a very large following, I think it makes a lot of sense to be able to bring them around the table for such an interesting discussion. You know, sanitation is one of the powerful drivers that directly affect health, it affects education, it affects tourism, it affects our environment, and most importantly, even local economic development. The people who go about doing small businesses, their business will thrive if we have improved sanitation. I mean, if you look at countries that have developed and check the way their environment is, there's a direct correlation between developed countries and the sanitation situation in these countries. So we cannot run away from the fact that when we improve on sanitation, a lot of things will improve, including all that I've mentioned. So the sanitation situation in Ghana is not of the best. I mean, the figures show that we need to do a lot. For example, I mean, close to almost 60% of Ghanaians don't have access to sanitation services. For example, they don't have even common waste bins to even keep their refuse. And as if that is not enough, the rest, this number, close to 77%, also burn their refuse at the household level. You know what it means to set fire in your refuse? I mean, it has a whole environmental consequences. Ghana loses close to 290 million USD, I mean, dollars, just by the fact that our environment is so dirty, our toilets are dirty, and the environment is not clean. 290 USD. And that forms close to almost 1.6% of our national GDP. So I can go on and on, but this data tells us that, I mean, we need to do something about sanitation. It's not of the best, and so therefore there's a need for us to, all of us coming
So
together.
let me, I'm not sure, but I don't know if I'll put you into trouble, but tell me, when we set up the Ministry for Sanitation, what were the successes?
The defunct Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. Yeah, you know, just to pull you back a bit to around 2014, before the setting up of the new ministry, we had a focus of ensuring that the populace are brought along to be able to be the owners of the environment, to be in charge of environmental sanitation in Ghana.
Successful?
And then we introduced the
Just
National
bringing people
Sanitation
along.
Day.
Were we
Yes.
successful?
Yes, very, very successful at that time, 2014.
In 2014?
14, yes.
How
that
successful? When you say successful, is it because we were organizing monthly cleanup exercises? What exactly made it successful?
That's a bit of it. But the most important thing was that the people themselves became responsible for the environment. They policed the environment. They were in charge of the environment. Because if you call somebody out to help you to do the cleaning every month, once every month, the person will make sure that if somebody throws refuse on the ground, he will challenge the person and ask the person to go. That's how important it is to bring people around to be part of the solution. Because every human being generates waste, one way or the other.
Okay, so, I mean, the statistics you're sharing is clear to all of us. And that's why we are frustrated. Because we should have people who are responsible for, in fact, they have to think ahead of us. So they tell us that this is what we're doing, so come along, this is what we're doing, so make sure this is what you're doing. We have bylaws that tells us how to punish people. So I wonder, when we have ministries set up, we have people in the ministries, we're paying them, but we're paying them for no work done.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So that's why we are here. That's why we need to share information.
Yeah, but we cannot continue talking.
Yes, so...
I'm not sure if they told you I'm unfriendly, but I am unfriendly. I'm very unfriendly.
No, this is a genuine question.
Yeah.
And that's why we are here to explain some of the things larger Ghanaians are also thinking. The way we collect waste, transport and dispose of waste management is not the responsibility or the operational activities of a ministry. Ministry is a policy arm. So all ministries...
The ministry's policies arm is what directs us to let us know how to transport the waste.
Yes.
So if the waste transportation fails, it is the fault of the ministry.
Yes, I agree with you partly. So if you churn out policies, there's an operation arm that's supposed to deliver the service. And these are the MMDAs, Metropolitan Municipal and District Assemblies. So technically, the ministries don't collect, transport and dispose of waste. They direct, they have oversight. They give directions and through policies and policy technical directions. But the rare implementers, the rare people who really collect the waste, transport and dispose of are the various 261 MMDAs.
Yeah.
So that is the institutional arrangement. But you see, waste, like I said, is generated by every human being, including every Ghanaian in this matter. So therefore, we require everybody to come around to be able to support us, collect the waste or transport the waste.
How do you want everybody to come around?
Yes, so through this discussion, through education, awareness creation, through
so
what
you
they
took
call...
me back to 2014.
Yes.
Did you make any effort to get to the lowest grade of human beings we have in terms of, no disrespect, but our children in schools? Did we get to that level where we begin to teach the children that this is how to generate waste, this is how to dispose of waste, this is how you can do recycling? Because waste generation across the world today, we say is money.
Yes, it is.
It's not just baller, like we call it baller.
It is.
You know, when Ghana went into the junk status, you heard the politicians say, baller, we are baller. They have a way of demeaning waste, but that thing is money.
I agree with you. Yeah. So for the school children, yes, currently it's in their curriculum. If you pick any of the syllabus of the basic schools, they teach them waste segregation. At least it's in the syllabus.
No, was there a new
No, it's been there for a while. I mean,
so it's not serving the purpose.
It's been there for a while.
For like
just targeting the school children alone. That's my major point around.
Because I don't remember when I was in primary school, I didn't learn anything about waste disposal. So I don't know what
it's part of social studies. Yes, currently social studies.
So it's a new syllabus they've given to the kids?
No, it's been there for a while, at least for the last 5 or so years.
Oh, and yes.
Yeah. So that is one segment of the population, the school children, the chain agents. So that is one. The larger population who are not decision-making, who are decision-making people are the adults like you and I, like the business people, like our revered pastors and imams who have a lot of followers, our traditional leaders who can make a big change, and they are custodians of our laws and our traditions. So these are the target group. So just to cut the history I was giving you, just by the time you got to 2016, a lot has been done between mobilizing the communities in trying to help us to clean our environment. Like the example I gave you, if I come out every month and then work for close to 4 hours every month, and then I see somebody dumping refuse, at my backyard, I'll be the first person to stop the person or report the person to the authorities. So in waste management, there are 3 main pillars. There are the issues around infrastructure. You need infrastructure, you need the final disposal sites, you need transfer stations, you need a certain system. That is one. Number 2, you need education, sensitization, mobilization, and engagement. And then the last is enforcement, which I can agree with you that it is not of the best. But you can have all the infrastructure, you can have all the people coming around to support you. But if your law enforcement is very weak, you will not get the best out of it.
What's our weakest link? You have the 3 main pillars.
The weakest link, the enforcement.
Is the law enforcement. That's our weakest link.
Yes, that's been the weakest.
So which branch of government or governance is not helping you? Because
the 261 MMDAs.
The MMDAs.
Yes.
And, the local assembly.
Yes. And I'm quick to add that if we cannot leave the issue of clean cities only at the doorsteps of the MMDCs.
Okay.
So we got to really help. And I think that's the reason why we are here. That's the essence of this discussion, to see the roles of the individual stakeholders in the space. But for me, if there's anything, then how do we...
okay, your mic is gone. Yeah, bring it up a bit. Got a little down. Okay.
So if we really want to see that our cities are clean, then we need to look at how we bring everybody along.
Remember
like we did back in 2014.
Some time ago, we put colors of dustbins.
Yeah, that's a waste segregation.
In the capital city.
Yeah, that's the waste segregation. Yes, like I said, the reason why we want to do engagement, we need to do sensitization, is the behavior of the people.
So the people are stealing the dustbins?
Yes, some are taking the dustbins, using it to really put maize in and prepare their kenke, prepare their... People are even using it to do all kinds of things. And yes, by the time you wake up the next morning, people might have just taken the waste out. So once again, let's put the real people in charge, the populace in charge, so that they will be able to stop some of these things and ensure that sustainability. So it's a big issue. It's not just a one bit of the challenge. It's a very broad, holistic challenge that maybe because of the discussion, I can tell you a lot.
Okay, I wanted to drag you a bit so that religious leaders will have a fair idea of what we're faced with.
Feel free.
For the policymakers.
Yes, feel free.
Reverend, I'll come to you before I go to Sheikh. I don't know what you make of what he has said, and you all have responsibilities when it comes to. I like my church because my pastor is very practical in sermon delivery. It's not just making money and killing my enemies. He tells me a lot about what I have to do to my life practically. And trust me, sanitation is one thing that is on his heart. I'm talking about Reverend Anthony Kujo. I dove my heart out for him respectfully. He will always talk about sanitation maybe, and then maybe issues of maintenance is a problem in Ghana. And every time he preaches, he knows that we have reps of our leaders in the congregation. So he speaks to them. And I like listening to such issues. I'm not sure if the same in your church, Pentecost, so maybe you can tell me more about it. How do you lead your people in this national development approach?
So thank you very much, and let me take opportunity to say good afternoon, as the program is, to Ghanaians and to my colleague, religious leader Sheikh, and our ministry rep also here, and yourself. I think, well, let me mention first that I'm not from the Church of Pentecost. Okay, whenever we mention the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council,
we think of Pentecost.
Yes, people think of the Church of Pentecost. The Church of Pentecost is one major constituent of the GPCC. Yeah, and we have over 270 member churches across the entire country. Very, very elaborate structure we have. It is said that cleanliness is next to godliness. And in the scriptures, right from Genesis chapter 1, God makes it very clear that he expects us at the peak of his creation, human beings, to have dominion over his creation and also to dress it and keep it. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, that is the number one assignment that after creating man, God gave, that we should keep the garden and keep it. We should dress it. And so that responsibility is not an afterthought. The responsibility of maintaining good sanitation around us. In fact, again, from the scriptural perspective, whenever God is about visiting the children of Israel, he warned them ahead of time to clean themselves and their environment and prepare themselves to receive his visit. And so sanitation and cleanliness for the church is very, very paramount, very, very important. I mean, listening to our expert from the ministry, I realized there is a big plank missing in their approach. And I think that will have to do with partnership with religious leaders, organizations, stakeholder groups like ourselves. I mean, the Muslim community and the Christian community for that matter. Because virtually 90% of the Ghanaian population identify with either the Christian faith or the Muslim faith, well over 90%. You know, so what it means is that you have a large constituent of the Ghanaian population sitting in churches and in the mosques. You have a small percentage being atheist and traditional religious people. And so if the ministry is doing all its effort and it's not connecting with the church and the mosque, I think it's a big omission. Thankfully, just about last week, the sector minister, that is Honorable Ibrahim Ahmed, to together with the deputy minister and some of the team members, had a meeting with us, and I'm sure they visited the Muslim community as well. You know, and we spoke about partnership, how we can foster this partnership going forward, and especially with the upcoming Sanitation Day, which the ministry is considering, how we can work with it. So I find that partnership strongly missing in the presentation that was made, and I don't know what the ministry can achieve without, you know, such a partnership. Like you rightly mentioned, Reverend Kujo is one fantastic minister. I've met him from my GPCC position. I was there a couple of times, and I think that is something we all need to do. I don't do it every Sunday or even every month, but every now and again in preaching, we come into issues of sanitation and hygiene, you know, to the members. And so the church is really ready to work with the ministry, in this direction.
So what I also think that from your delivery is missing is that, you know, when you work in the private sectors, I don't know how it happens in the public sectors, we have what you call the KPIs.
Yes.
So as organizations, you set your KPIs and then you set your milestones and dates of achieving them. So when you meet and you collaborate, do you set KPIs and do you set dates of achieving them, making sure that, okay, maybe in the next 4 months, we want to see that Ghana has been able to desilt all gutters.
Actually,
and then maybe in the next 6 months, Ghana has been able to move all buildings in water bodies out. And in 2 years' time, we should be able to maybe have 2,000, what do you call it?
Households?
Yes, 2,000, no, even, where's been 2,000? It's too small now. Washrooms. Public washrooms, 2,000 public washrooms in all 16 regions. Like these are the kind of KPIs I'm looking at, so that you are able to measure what you've been, and that's what we lack.
Yes.
So we say sanitation ministry, and we go for World Bank money. And we say we're clearing Odo. But today, Mahama has gone to Odo. And I look at him and I ask myself, why are our leaders doing this to us? You know, and it's for this generation, it's for the next generation. You are just harming us. So you take the money, you don't put up any KPIs. We hire Zoom Lion. I work for Zoom Lion because this company is for Jospon. So is Zoom Lion able to provide their results of whatever work you give them? Yes, they put people on the street to sweep. But when they sweep, do they report to us? How is it? How do we pay Zoom Lion? Do you understand? What does Zoom Lion do? Zoom Lion has been able to build recycling plants. Nice. What have they been able to do? Have they been able to help? In other countries, we have people who are paid for sending plastics to recycling companies. Is Zoom Lion able to do this? Yes, as part of the contract we're giving to Zoom Lion, we want you to employ jobless youth. Let them have a day-to-day something to chop. Give them some, you know, something small that every day they bring plastics, we pay them. So that you get your plastics. There's a way something I shared on my wall by Bus Stop Boys. You know these Backstop boys, amazing, fantastic guys. It's like I just want to work with them. I like what they're doing, and they've not gone to school. It's no innovation, but they're doing all that. So are we able to bring all those people on board? And Mr. Policymaker, that's on your table, though.
Yeah, let me chip in this. That you cannot just pick a private company and then sign contract with the company without coming out with what you expect the private company to achieve. The outcomes. That's a contractual agreement. It's a standard contractual agreement. So all those things are there. If you can refer to some of the contracts that have been signed by the private sector, it's fantastic. They are all there. They are all there. So that's the assurance I can give you. It's well
so they are
stated
there.
Out. Even in public
Do
service.
they need them?
Yes. I cannot offer say that they meet them because the dredging is under another ministry.
Yeah, but I can tell you they don't meet them.
Yes, okay. So
I mean, you get my point.
So
I can tell you directly because every contract definitely there's agreements.
Yes.
You expect that you have to do this, and I'm also doing this.
Maybe do more work on that before we come to that conclusion.
Okay.
Because
I am saying they don't meet them because of what I see.
Exactly.
Yes.
Where I stay, and I love this discussion. Where I stay.
Yeah.
Today, I even wrote it on social media. I was coming to work. 2 years ago, when it rains, I see that there's a little water coming on the road. After 2 years and something, today, I was literally driving on water.
Yeah.
So it means that the situation is worse.
Yes.
In the next 2 years, I probably can't come out of my house when it rains heavily. And the rains has just started.
Yeah, you might be right.
So
Be right.
that is, by the results of what I'm seeing, I can tell you that we are not achieving our KPIs.
Yes. So for me, the most interesting part of the discussion is that's why we are here. That's all the good people representing the various religious bodies are here.
Okay.
So how do we take it to the next level so that the next year when we come, you will tell us a different story?
Okay. Let me involve Sheikh. There's a reason I reserved you for last. So please, come in.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me also, like Apostle did, come from the perspective of religion and talk about the importance of sanitation and cleanliness. It's very important, like Apostle pointed out, to include religious bodies. Because I'm sure you recall that in the last Afrobarometer report, most of the respondents indicated that they trusted religious leaders more than they even trusted traditional leaders and politicians. And that is why you cannot achieve any success if you don't want to include religious bodies. And of course, it is better late than never. Perhaps in the past, they were including religious bodies, but it wasn't to this level, this extent that they want us to be involved in. As far as Islam is concerned, there is a verse in the Quran where the Allah says, Inna Allaha yuhibbul mutatahirin, that indeed Allah loves those who care for cleanliness. Again, Islam makes us understand the fact that to be clean is fulfillment of half of your faith. To the extent that Islam emphasizes on personal hygiene, so that anytime you have to pray, you need to clean yourself, your clothing, the one you wear, and your environment where you are even going to worship or where you are going to pray. So Islam emphasizes on all these things just to ensure that, like the Prophet said in one of the traditions, a strong believer is liked by Allah than a weak one. If your environment is not clean, you always fall sick. If you always fall sick, you cannot be on your feet so that you worship to the extent. Yes, and like the expert from the rep said, Islam abhors wastefulness. He said each year we lose about $290 million. And that is why we all have to sit up and get ourselves involved in what is going on. If the definition we were given...
I'm sorry, how do we lose that?
Yeah, through poor sanitation, you go to...
So now when you say we lose, we're using that money to clean? Or
we lose.
Or we
lose. You lose it through the omission and the commission of what we are supposed to do. For example, you don't clean your environment and then you get diseases. You go to the hospital through transporting yourself to the hospital, extra costs at the hospital. If you are the breadwinner of that house, you stay in that hospital, and who feeds your family? How do they? So a lot of work has been done extensively
directly
on that.
Related to
waste. Directly.
And these monies could have been put to other uses if we had prevented this from. You remember, I think, was it in October, since October or November, we've been talking about the outbreak of cholera. It is due to the fact that we don't keep our environments clean.
It's not true.
So if it is mainly due to that.
It's not true.
Why? Tell us, what is responsible for the outbreak of cholera?
That's somebody's chop money.
But if that is somebody's chop money, it means the one who has to supervise. If the person was supervising, that wouldn't happen. If the person who was supposed to supervise was supervising, that situation would not have arisen in the first place. And so these monies could have been put to better use for the development of the entire country. And that is why we all need to come work. And I said, if the definition were given at primary school that government is you and I, we don't even have to sit down to be called upon. We have to see ourselves as interested stakeholders who have a role to play to ensure that our country develops.
Let me risk this. And since you are a leader in an Islamic community, I should think I am safe to ask this question. This myth that when you go, mostly when you go into the Muslim communities, their standard of sanitation is very low, as in super low. And sometimes you are tempted to visit some of the communities and see how they live. And you can tell that they are very... You said from the beginning that you don't... Islam does not... what's the quote you said? You said Islam does not allow for, what, poor sanitation.
Yes. So to the extent that if you are always clean, you are deemed to have fulfilled at least half of your faith.
Okay. But are you sure that most of your... Muslims,
you land and I'll
are you sure most of your Muslims, get that teaching? Because, yesterday I heard there was some decongestion exercise in Nima, and I was super happy. And I saw that some of the youth there went on a rampage, decongestion, and lots of the legal structures there that they are told are used for drug menace. So they went breaking down. We have some of the videos. If my producers will find it, they can play it for us. They went breaking down the places, making sure that all these structures, are destroyed so that they can have their youth. But it's also one place that has the myth that when it comes to sanitation, they don't keep up, or they have very low sanitation standard in such communities. And sometimes we're also told that governments ignore. That's why sometimes we hear, there is a fund for Zongo communities. Yes, because there's this problem that is like you have to put a very special, deliberate effort to keep the Zongo or bring them up to the urban sort of standard and stuff like that. I'm not sure
I
what
would
you can
want
tell
to
me.
look at that from the perspective of development and not necessarily from the perspective of insanitary conditions. And of course, there's also the need for us to draw a clear distinction between what some people will hold as their cultural beliefs against what Islam talks about. Because when it comes to Islam, at least you are praying 5 times. You are worshiping 5 times in a day. And looking at the times apart between each prayer, it means you are likely to renew your ablution at every prayer, which brings to mind the issue about cleanliness. So why is it that in some of the cases that are predominantly Muslim by way of religion, we find some of the conditions you are talking about? It could be due to, one, limited knowledge about the importance of sanitation. It could also be due to poverty. It could also be due to the absence or the lack or inadequate infrastructure in those communities, and some other issues that we could talk about. So it is not necessarily because they are Muslims. That is why those conditions are unhygienic. But it could be due to other factors that may be peculiar to those areas.
Because we're told that you people, you don't do material things because of the way when you die, how you even bury your loved ones, is you don't waste time in material things. So everything they just use on earth, that's all they need. You won't go to heaven or wherever.
Have you been to Kofodia?
You not go to. We should reserve that discussion for another day.
I would like to visit there. The way you're asking, it means that it's a different community.
Nice.
Kofodia Zongo.
And then
any special plan that went into that area?
It's so, I seem to agree with Sheikh. If you don't consciously look at infrastructure and plan towards it, every community can be as chaos as anything. So consciously, you need to plan. And I was told that during a champion's time, the place was reorganized. Demolitions were done, and then the place was rebuilt. And go currently, so many decades after Champong, go and you see the infrastructure.
So that's what Sheikh was talking about.
Yes, so that's what I say. I agree with Sheikh.
In terms of developmental infrastructure.
So it tells us as a country that we should be able to focus and do even development across the various segments of the community. Otherwise, we come back and say that such communities are blah, blah, blah. But I feel we should be consciously plan and also develop such communities.
Okay, Sheikh, you will land.
Yeah, so
that's about your community, but back to the national picture.
Yeah.
Yes, the national picture, of course, like I said, everyone must come on board. Even if you've not been invited, you should see yourself as a stakeholder who has a role to play to ensure that we get to the destination we all want. And what is that destination? Where a community, where there is limited fields, which contribute to the kind of diseases we have within our community. You see, if you talk about sanitation-related diseases, one or the leading one is the cholera that we're talking about. Yes, I'm sure you just said it in jest, that it is someone's chop money, but at least we lost some lives. Yeah. At least some revenue was expended on those communities. These monies could have been expended on something else. Yeah. And if we all come on board and see it as a national priority, I'm sure we can make a headway.
Reverend, you want to, yeah.
Yes, and I want to start by commending yourself, Annie. I was thinking that the ministry should take you as a consultant.
I'll be
with your
glad.
comment.
I hear people are scouting for me, that this government should employ me.
I see. It will be a step in the right direction.
I didn't hear that one.
Hearing you comment, I think it's a great thing. But let me also mention that from where I sit, you see, the church is almost, in a certain sense, being disempowered by the inactivity of the state or the government, if you like. You see, the initial statement expert from the ministry, our sector ministry mentioned, was to the effect that the weakest, plank in the three pillars he mentioned was enforcement. Yeah. Now, that lack of enforcement tends to empower wrongdoing. If I am putting my rubbish at the wrong place, if I'm doing the wrong things, and there is no sanction, there is no punishment, you go the full haul to do the right thing. In the society now, it's making those who are doing the right things look stupid in our society, in every sphere, not just in terms of sanitation, on our roads, in our maintenance of our living conditions and everything. Lack of enforcement of rules, policies, regulations is what is now creating more of the problems for us. If the ministry can find a way of dealing with people who are delinquent, people who don't obey the rules, if there is a way of punishing, others will sit up. But I do everything to make sure that I'm doing the right thing as is expected. My next door is throwing rubbish, leaving rubbish in front. There is no sanction to it.
There's something I haven't checked. Yeah. I went to Singapore more than 10 years ago, some 15 years ago. And I went to a shop to buy gum. I think for some reason I ate some food I didn't like, so I wanted gum. Yeah. So I went into the shop too, and then I was told that they looked at me and noticed, oh, she's a stranger. Yeah. So they just politely told me they don't sell gum in the shop, and I will not get it anywhere I go.
In this community.
I wondered, which I have not done the research on, but I was wondering, what is the punishment in chewing gum? Yeah. And I could tell that it was so stringent, gum or chewing gum. It was so stringent that you don't want to be seen chewing, even chewing. Yeah. Something will happen to you. I probably have to check what the punishment is. In Singapore, if you chew gum, what will happen to you? Because I think that's also the punishment in Ghana is not stringent enough, such that if chewing gum is so offensive, what about throwing dump? We've seen it has started raining. We see people on social media all the time. Me, when I see those videos, I go and write Ghana police. See me just writing Ghana police. Because it's sickening. I see that in a circle, if I'm drawing a map and I see ministry is here, the policymakers, you need cameras, right, to work with on the street to monitor. You need data on individuals, on the people, so that even if you are somewhere, I can trace you and tell you that this is what you have done. You know, you need the companies, and you probably need to empower them either through taxes or something to give them some ease of doing something. Until recently, I saw a video of, I thought it was only Ghana that we throw rubbish into the sea. It is everywhere.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Everywhere, but everywhere they make a conscious effort to even clean the sea. And their water bodies, Galamsey is a different matter. We'll talk about that later. But they have some technical technologies that shockingly cleans the sea in a very beautiful manner. And I was so there's this technology. You understand? So a lot is happening, but we need you to lead.
Yeah. Exactly so.
If you don't, we can't do much.
I started, and this non-enforcement of
we're wrapping
regulation,
up. So,
non-enforcement of regulation makes it even difficult to continue talking about it in the church. Because you talk about it, the person goes and is doing the right thing, his neighbor is doing the wrong thing, and it doesn't cost that person nothing.
Yeah.
So point is, I mean, the church members are being disenabled, and I'm sure it's also with Muslim brothers and sisters. You know, the church is doing all it can, but the state is not doing its part, and we cannot enforce laws.
Yeah.
It is up to the state to make sure that the rules are enforced. And those who are not doing the right thing are punished. Those who are doing the right things are rewarded for doing the right things. Otherwise, we'll keep talking about it. Nobody does nothing.
It'll be a talk show. Yeah. Sheikh, I'll let you have your last word before I come to you. Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to say is in connection with the National Sanitation Day that is coming up on 3rd May, that from the Office of the National Chief Imam, what we are going to do is to this Friday and then the following week Friday, which is the day preceding the Saturday, we are going to conscientize our people for everyone to participate in it. And in fact, on the D-Day, God willing, we are going to mobilize the people to come out. But there's one thing we all need to do to change our attitude. Apostle was talking about the state. I wanted to come to the defense of the state. Sometimes there are some law enforcing officers who would want to enforce, but it is the same religious leaders and traditional leaders who will be approached to go and plead on behalf of these offenders. And it appears at the end of the day, the law is not working, although someone wants to implement it. So let us all change our attitude, and those who must apply or enforce the law should do so, so that we can all move forward.
I think Sheikh has picked the point I wanted to raise about the enforcement. You should not be discouraged. Look, as much as we are Ghanaians, let's find space in our hearts to love Ghana. And the greatest thing to do in loving Ghana is to love our environment. I mean, you cannot decouple the two and say that you are patriotic, you want Ghana to succeed, and you want to really do anything to the environment, abuse the environment. It doesn't work that way. So you are going to rely on everybody, the word is everybody, to come out there on every first Saturday of the month to help us clean the environment. And I can assure you the impact. In the next 6-7 months, you will see the big impact that we have on our environment.
So when you come out on every Saturday, first Saturday, where do your area?
Yes, so
you have your local assembly leader.
Yes, so you work within where you stay, and then we will try and then keep the refuse and quickly cut the refuse out of sight as quickly as we can. But for me, it's possible because we have done it before. And because our traditional leaders are not here, let me just say a word around the role of traditional leaders in Ghana. They are the embodiment of the entire populace. In fact, they are the custodian of our culture. Hitherto, they were calling people to order. They called them to their palaces and then give them fines, etc.
The traditional leaders.
Yes, I mean our chiefs and our queen mothers. They play very critical role. And I can give you just one example. Those who know Asin Kushia in Central Region.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a chief who has, I mean, put up a very big signpost at the entrance of the community and said that, look, we don't really dump refuse here. Try, and a small boy or small girl will embarrass you. It's doable.
Yeah.
Because let's give a little powers to our traditional leaders for them to also
If you want to know practically what exactly he's talking about, go to the Kushia Palace. I've been there.
Yes,
Beautiful place.
Yes, the entire town.
Yeah.
Beautiful streets within the town.
Yes.
And I think it's doable. So we are relying on everybody. I mean, our traditional leaders, our imams, and the entire Muslim community, our Christian community. Then the traditional believers, they also believe in cleanliness because that's why they wear white before they go to their shrines. That's why they use white powder to, before they go there. That's why they remove their sandals before they go to shrines. So all these things put together tells you that they also believe in cleanliness. So the entire Ghanaians, we believe in cleanliness. Let's come out there to support in cleanliness.
So it's actually the reintroduction of the National Sanitation Day, all right?
You're right.
And that is the purpose for this whole discussion, just to whip up interest once again and see how the national interest will lead you to support the cleaning exercise. So we just heard from Mr. Kweku Kwansa. He is Director, Sanitation Directorate. That is the management unit at the Ministry of
Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs.
I thank you for making time. This is your ministry there. We have to ask Mahama questions. But thank you for making time with us.
You're welcome.
We also had Sheikh Abdul, also known as Rashid Ni Ayete Odoi Achem. Anyete Odoi Achem, yes. Also a very popular one within our governance system. He is also a member of the advisory board of the National Chief Imam, also the Dade Kutupon Municipal Chief Imam as well. Also, Apostle Emmanuel Okule Tete is the General Secretary for the Ghana Pentecostal Charismatic Council. Also making time with us here. Good afternoon, Ghana. I'm so grateful that you came. I'm sure we'll do it again. Yeah. And then as the sanitation exercise goes on, we'll see the success of it. All right. So we'll pull the brakes here. You see that I have some more time, but I have another interview coming up, and that has to do with World Veterinary Day. We're having quite a brief interview on that, on veterinary activities. Do we have animals in our homes, pets we're keeping? We want to draw your attention to a few things. Gentlemen, thank you for making time. We'll be back shortly.
Thanks.
There was a time in Ghana. There was a time in Ghana when waste was everyone's problem and no one's responsibility. Do you remember when, as children, going to Bola was such a chore? When the guys who worked with waste are shunned in the community, we seem to have forgotten them days when waste management was not dignified. Then came a vision, bold, unshakable, one that believed sanitation was not just a service, but a symbol of dignity. A revolution quietly began. A transformation from one Obuafo tricycle to thousands of waste collection vehicles. From open dump sites to adding value to waste. From a job no one wanted to one that feeds thousands of homes. From dump site to dignity. There was a time in Ghana when waste was everyone's problem and no one's responsibility. Do you remember when, as children, going to Bola was such a chore? When the guys who worked with waste are shunned in the community, we seem to have forgotten them days when waste management was not dignified. Then came a vision, bold, unshakable, one that believed sanitation was not just a service, but a symbol of dignity. A revolution quietly began. A transformation from one Obuafo tricycle to thousands of waste collection vehicles. From open dump sites to adding value to waste. From a job no one wanted to one that feeds thousands of homes. From dump site to dignity.
Ghana. Now let's have our final interview on this, and that has to do with veterinary activities in your homes. I want to talk about veterinary, day. It actually fell on Saturday, just as gone by Saturday, but I'm sure you were busy celebrating Easter, so you probably didn't even, recognize this. But Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu is a Risk Communications Officer, Veterinary Services Ghana. He's joining me here in the studio. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good
to
afternoon.
You. And I'm grateful for making time with us. Okay, so let's go into it. I personally have some cats at home.
Great.
I didn't buy them. They were just stray cats, and they ended up. Well, the cats came to my house to make babies, and then they stayed because I was giving them food, obviously. So I haven't really taken any responsibility to take them to veterinary officer, whatever.
Okay.
But I try to feed them well anyway.
Oh, but that is good. It's
they
commendable.
Eat like their father is rich.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's commendable.
Exactly.
If we had a lot of Ghanaians taking this initiative, we still have people seeing stray animals around and we ask them, where did they go?
Yeah.
All over the world, every year, the last Saturday of the month of April, which is this coming Saturday, is normally set aside for World Veterinary Day.
Oh, it's the coming
It's the
Saturday
coming one,
instead?
yeah.
Okay.
So why the need is to look at the work of veterinary. Most people even don't know which people are called veterinary doctors, or they don't even understand.
Oh.
So some people even keeping animals don't even know the essence or the importance of whatever they're supposed to do. And I like this year's theme. We talk about animal health team. Animal health takes a team.
Yeah.
Which means that not only we, the veterinary staff, but the public needs to be involved. Why? Animal health looks at the physical well-being of the animal and their welfare, like how you are giving your pet food. And it's also looking at diseases that can affect human or being environment. That's one thing we all forget. When we talk about animals, we have different groups. We have food-producing animals, which is the cattle, the sheep, goat, and the poultry, which most people are interested because of investment.
Yeah.
Now we have those that we use for tourism, where you see the resort, we have our zoos taken care of, and the wildlife, like the Mo National Park and all those. Even the effect of Galamsey, animals are being affected because they are also in the forest. How do they fed for themselves? The water that they drink and they forage. So all this. We should not forget one critical role, the fisheries, agriculture, whereby a lot of work needs to be done in that area. So people who are into now tilapia, catfish, they need to get a veterinary consultant or veterinary advice in whatever they do with to get these products very safe. The shocking reality that people don't even know that dogs are given drip. We do surgery. So when you come to veterinary practice all over the world, even in Ghana, we have those who are into the clinics, they do surgeries. We have those who, consult, injections, we give drip. We have those who are into the field, like poultry farms. They go to help them with their vaccination schedule, try to see their problem, look at the feed formulation if there is lack of ingredients.
So
those
who
are in the clinic, those more
poultry and the practice of animal husbandry, you visit them often?
Yeah,
by law, they have to.
They have to call for our services because they need what we call movement permit. Why the movement permit is so that we prevent disease moving from one constituency to another. But most Ghanaians don't really know, and most don't really do. What we see being well enforced is in the international one. So sometimes people will send things and later they'll be told that you couldn't send. Even drums, they are made of skin, and anthrax can spread through this drum skin. So people have sent their product outside the country. It got to the other part, and all the consignment were destroyed. Internationally, we can't give any permit once it gets there.
So the herdsmen who also go around with their cattle. What's your jurisdiction?
Yes. So at the border, we have vet officers at every border, whether it's land, sea. So Harbour Airport, we have people there who check live animals or the product itself. So we check before they come to the country. And when they are sick too, they're supposed to consult.
You check those herdsmen before they enter the country?
We pass through the right route, but the truth is that most of the people we have pass through the unapproved route.
Okay.
Especially those who hear about destroying people's farms, they don't pass through. When they pass through the approved routes, we are able to ask them
if
where are
someone
they
uses
going.
the illegal routes and they enter and you catch them, you should send them back.
Yes, so this is about enforcement. It's about collaboration with local assembly. We as Ataka people is like the human health system. Like the doctors, the nurses, and those, we have those people. But enforcement deals with the district assemblies. So when it comes to people leaving their stray animals, the veterinary service have been advocating that all assemblies should enforce. Recently, here the KMA talk about the cattle, and people had issues with. Actually, our bylaws prohibit for animals to be left astray, prohibit that we don't fed for them and all those things. And these are enforcement. We can't really enforce. So we always draw at the attention of local assembly. We are supposed to make sure the animal is healthy, the animal is not sick, the welfare of the animals is safe.
Okay.
That's basically what we do, and we advise other. We don't do it alone. So local assembly, when it comes to stray animals, it does enforcement. And there's a bit of another issue with vaccination as well.
Vaccination.
Rabies is still in Ghana. We need to always remember. That's why this year's one.
I never knew that rabies had an end result of having a man bark like a dog.
Yes. And we are currently
That's
Ghana.
when you have gotten to the fatal stage.
The fatal stage. For rabies, once the signs and symptoms start, whether it is the headache or no drug can be. The good aspect is we can be able to eliminate rabies by vaccinating. So those in the olden times will tell there was mass vaccination. Currently, we do not see those things. And that's what we are advocating for, that government look at getting back to it, or the local assembly enforce it. If somebody wants to keep a pet, the person needs to vaccinate so that we all have a safe environment to live in. But all these things
so
are
for
left
the safety of others.
Yes.
So if you come and I have not vaccinated my pet, what will you do?
So by local assembly, you're supposed to be put in trouble.
So what will you do to me? What's the law? What does the law?
So for those who don't vaccinate and their dogs bite people, the police get custody of you. You can be taken.
Okay, so
the fine is
so the police will have arrest me only when my dog bites.
That's currently because people ideally we're supposed to have a system whereby if I'm your neighbor, I'm supposed to inform the police, but we have not gotten there yet. People don't really care. People even see that somebody has done well to pick an animal like yours, you have picked an animal to look after. Then you have time to go and report the person. Not at all. But I also feel people are not aware. If anybody
reports me, like, I mean, okay, so what's the state of the health system of our domestic animals currently?
So far so good. Yes, we are on a good path, but a lot needs to be done. We have some diseases when it comes to the poultry, which we say Ghana is endemic. Okay. So we have to continue to vaccinate, which farmers are aware. So those who want to go to poultry farm, or those who want to go to livestock, cattle, sheep, or piggery, they need to get closer to the nearest veterinary center in their area. Ask them. People just jump into farming because they feel it's just lucrative. No. Once you want to do anything of animal production, get to the nearest veterinary center. Let them advise you, because every district have what outbreak that they face. Those in the more of the northern side normally face outbreak of anthrax. So when you are going to start cattle rearing there, you need to, then you are advised on a vaccine. When you're supposed to vaccinate, then you do it. Those who want to go into slaughtering or processing of poultry products need to also get to the nearest veterinary center so that we help regulate and sanitize the area. So we have vet staff in many areas. The issue that many people don't see a lot of vet staff unless you have a pet and you go to the clinic or the hospital. If we have veterinarians who are working in the pharmaceutical companies. Remember that when there are vaccines being brought to the country and said we are going to use for humans, he said, why don't you test it on guinea pig? It means somebody must go to school, learn the anatomy of animals and see which one is closer to human so that you can see whether it truly works there. We have veterinary personnel or professionals who are working in research institutions. We have some are working at like Nuguchi, KCCL, and they help with experimentation because we normally use animals for experimentation. And this is a very real. We also have veterinary staff. They are the meat inspectors. So across our water facilities, you need to have meat inspectors. So anybody who's trying to do a processing plant, whether private, probably you want to do a public partnership, you need to get veterinary services to get meat inspectors. They can tell whether this animal, first of all, is good to be slaughtered, and even if it's slaughtered, whether the meat is good for the public. We have vet staff in fisheries commission. We have vet staff in wildlife, all helping. And from time to time, we also have vet staffs in laboratories. Then the ones that normally people get a chance to see are those are in the clinics whereby they offer services, clinical services, surgeries, and drips, and all those things.
Okay.
So it's wide range. And just to let you know, we go through, the doctors go through the same years of formation that of the medic. I personally had the opportunity to sit for 3 years with the medical students because KNOC practice what we call the 1L system.
Mm-hmm.
Then the last 3 years, everybody goes into the specialization because they are doing more of human, we are doing animals. And this brings us all together. So we want to use this day to say that, yes, there are people who take care of animal. And the animal, they are doing so not just for the sake of only the animal, but also for we humans. And we need to appreciate their work. We need to know when to visit them. People don't even know that keeping animals, you need to always consult for a veterinary medical center for any advice. People don't do it. So you can do that online. We have veterinary service on all social media platforms. Ask the questions.
But you know somehow that the animals know you. And when you enter the house, they know that it's my doctor. They start running away.
Yes, it's because especially dogs, they have they sniff from afar, and the medications they are used to them. So if I should enter and I carry those medications, fine, they would smell from afar. That is what I'm going to do.
Lovely.
And some animal, some dogs, once I visited once, and you remember that I give an injection, they keep. Basically, they are animals, but we forget that humans are higher animals. That's why I said whatever happens to us happens to them. The difference is our brain. We think we can do a lot of things, but they can't.
Yeah.
But whatever suffering. So people in feeding them just throw anything out of them. No, we don't need to do so at all.
You love animals.
Yes, I keep.
That's why you're a veterinary.
Not that. That's my passion and something that I like to do.
Okay.
So tell the public that this year, which is on a team, Animal takes a team. They are also part of the team. If they have decided to go into animal production, if they decided to go into keeping pets, they need to do their best to complement our work so that country Ghana will be safe. Because when COVID came and we heard it was from a wet market, that's animal, we all got shaken. When you have a bird flu, we get shaken.
Yeah.
When you have a rabies, but together we can help if all of us are playing out.
Me, I love animals. So because of that, I say going forward, I probably won't chew goats or chicken and things like
Why?
that again. Because I can't take it.
No, don't forget that animals are in classifications. Once it's a food producing animal, it's good. So that's why I tell people
I've
that
already
the
made
fact
up
that
my mind. I'll keep them as pets.
the fact that I like that welfare doesn't mean it is when the animal is not a food producing animal and you want to try and
then it becomes
that's where there are issues around.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu, Risk Communications Officer for Veterinary Services Ghana. He's been with us here. Saturday is the day we're marking the World Veterinary Day. It is World Veterinary Day 2025. Animals health takes a team. It takes a team, highlighting the field's collaborative nature. So be a part of it and send your animals for visits. Let them come and visit them at home as well and enjoy them, give them the right medicine. Doc, I'm grateful.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
With us. Okay, I'm wrapping up, but my producer has just given me something that I probably think that as we're talking about medicals and hospitals and probably veterinary services, let's talk about the doctors. It's on the screen. The Ghana Medical Association has released a letter following the sacking of the Tamale Teaching Hospital CEO. Development at Tamale Teaching Hospital, and it reads, let me try and read it before we go. And it says that the Ghana Medical Association has taken notice of the very disturbing development at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. The GMA strongly condemns the unfortunate treatment of the doctors at the emergency unit of the hospital during the visit by the Minister of Health and a Member of Parliament for Tamale North Constituency, subsequent dismissal of Chief Executive Officer of the hospital. The manner in which the dismissal was carried out is an affront to due process and abuse of power by the health minister. So the GMA stands in solid solidarity with the colleagues in the wake of these injustices being perpetuated. So the ill-informed media outfit of the death of the patient raises serious issues of the breach of patient's confidentiality, exposes the facility to meet medical legal risk and prejudicial issues even before the matter is duly investigated. So indeed, the doctors have already been tried in the courts of public opinion. Now, the head of the emergency unit has already received threats and cyberbullying, putting him and other staff at risk of physical harm and psychological trauma. These acts of, if continued, have the tendency of demoralizing committed workers and reducing public confidence in the health system. While the association recognizes concerns raised by relatives of the patient and the minister and MP, there exists clearly laid out procedures to resolve concerns of grievances rather than these circuses of public engagement, which often only whips up public sentiment without addressing the underlying issues or providing solutions. And he continues to say that the Ghana Medical Association therefore demands an unqualified apology from the Minister of Health and the Member of Parliament for Tamale North constituency for the unwarranted attacks on the staff involved. The GMA calls on the hospital to ensure due process is followed to ascertain the true facts about the grievances of the affected family and find lasting solutions to the issues. We also call on the management of the facility to ensure the safety of the staff involved in the and provide the necessary psychological support to them. The GMA is committed to this, to dispassionately discuss the ingredients, systemic issues in the health sector and finding lasting solution and holistic solution rather than public blaming of doctors and other health workers for issues that go beyond their control. It is worthwhile noting that doctors and it's worthwhile noting that doctors and other health workers work in trying circumstances with limited resources, oftentimes using their meager personal resources to deliver care. The GMA is closely monitoring the situation in the facility, and for that matter, all other facilities will advise our members appropriately in due course. It was signed by Dr. Frank Sribo, President of the Ghana Medical Association, and also co-signed by Dr. Who is also a dentist, Richard Salome, who's a General Secretary. And that is the latest release that's just come up from the Ghana Medical Association, bringing us to a close of Good Afternoon, Ghana. My name is Annie Ampofo. Thanks for watching.
Every day in Ghana, a quiet revolution unfolds. A story of transformation, resilience, and unwavering commitment to creating a cleaner, greener nation. This is the story of the Jospon Group of Companies, a company at the heart of Ghana's sanitation revolution. It began in 2006 with one man and one